If I see a handsome person at the Burger King, I'm going to be like, get in my car. I'm taking you to a better place.
What's up, fellow kids? You guys want to listen to some NoFX today? Got like the hard, rough meat right here in my hand.
And this place is a shithole. Like, just a shitty little piece of shithole. Hey, everybody. I don't know how to start this anymore.
We forgot
How
this show works. All I can think about is this big pretzel.
I thought you were turning it for the branding. I'm like, listen, if you're going to get any sponsorship, it's not the Big Ben.
I just want us to look at the pretzel so we can focus on it.
I don't want to turn it away.
So
I'll
we
get
can
obsessed.
focus on it the whole episode and then go get pretzels.
The Big Ben. Ben's Soft Pretzels. This episode is sponsored by Ben's Soft Pretzels.
Amish-style soft pretzels.
Style, as opposed to, what's different? They don't watch TV. Why they do
They're
it?
big. They're bigger and softer. Like the pretzel I had yesterday was...
You haven't eaten enough pretzels.
I'm telling you right now, the pretzel I had yesterday was probably the biggest, softest pretzel I've had in the last 5 years. I'm going to say it.
Jesus Christ. This is large cap.
Call it what you want. It was a good-ass pretzel.
Don't fucking get me all worked up and
I'm just saying it was
the softness.
It was such a big, beautiful, soft pretzel. I came home, took my pants off, ate it, and had it. I did. I hand
it to you, and you're like, oh.
First,
why you're eating it.
First I bought it, put it in
your mouth when you're talking.
First I bought it, put it in the car, then had to stop and get gas. Got back in the car after getting the gas, and the whole car smelled like pretzels. That made me come first. That was
sure.
Got the quick one out. Then I got home, got my weird sticky pants off and my underwear, and then just took a baby wipe and wiped off in the bathroom. Sat down on the couch, Donald Duck in it, still in my work shirt, unbuttoned, wife beater up over the belly a little bit, like, but when I say a little bit, I mean like a crop top. And then I came again just looking at the pretzel. Then I ripped off a piece and put it in my mouth. Came a third time, came with every bite, and then took a fat nap because the pretzel was so good and big and soft.
And all the cum?
Have you ever had a pretzel so big and soft it made you cum 19 times and you took a fat nap afterwards? Ben's Pretzels, ladies and gentlemen.
I was like, promote us. But yes, Ben's Soft Pretzels. Go to www.dapperdadspodcast.com.
If you've ever had a big soft pretzel make you cum 19 times.
You'll find a coupon for big soft pretzels. Not
for
any
$1
specific
off.
brand.
Just
take
$1
it somewhere
off.
and see.
It's a printable coupon. It's got a weird looking barcode on it that you scan with a QR reader, and it just doesn't do anything. It just says invalid, and you're like, no. My dad said this gave me a pretzel.
If you make enough of a fuss, a certain pretzel establishment will eventually give up and be like, fuck this.
A certain pretzel establishment will go, that is a giant man yelling.
What is it?
Annie Ann's?
Annie Ann's? Oh, that's the only way you can say that. That's what I hate, that's the front runner of our pretzels is Annie Ann's.
No, Ben's.
Ben's is up there, but they're only in Myers, right?
That's the only place I've seen them, but you know what?
I don't like to exclusively buy my pretzels in a weird store.
You can say that, but like, damn if I won't do it.
The Meyer by me doesn't even have the pretzels.
That breaks my heart.
I don't know what they have. Something.
Well, go yell at them and tell them to get a Ben's in there.
I don't know if I'll be back. I went once and I was so irritated with the service.
Sounds like everything in the town where you live in, because you hate the one big chain store, the other big chain store, and now the third big chain store.
I think I hate people.
I think I think you just hate being around people.
But it's not me. It's them.
It's everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't say it like that, but yeah.
No, it's everyone else.
Hey, it's episode 166. We wrote it down so we remember now, because I wouldn't have.
Because you gotta get your kicks on episode 166.
I hate that happened. Call, text, 4027-DAPPER. That's
we won't do it.
732-7737. The phone number. We won't do it. You do it. No one does it. Probably because we made it so weird.
You listening. You do it. Us talking.
Right
we
now.
don't do it.
No, we won't. Don't worry about it. It's not even a problem. We're gonna stop saying it.
It's not even a big deal.
Yeah. Don't even think about it.
Don't even just dial the numbers. Just run it over in your head over and over again.
Run it over in your car.
Just run it over in your car like you did that kid when you were 9 driving home drunk, and then you never told anybody about it.
You were 9 driving home drunk, or the kid was 9?
The kid was 9. I was 10. He should not have been out that late, and he was touching my Pokemon cards. And we got into my dad's beer, and I think it's past the statute of limitations. I think I can talk about how I did this. The cops just swarmed in
yeah, and they're like, we got him.
We got him. We've been looking for
our personal Bin Laden right
We've been looking for our old Timothy Van Jonathan's murderer for a long time now. And
R.I.P. The Jonathan family finally
Van
has
Jonathan,
closure.
Timothy Van Jonathan.
Well, maybe if you didn't have a stupid name, my friend wouldn't have murdered
Well,
you.
maybe if he didn't have Van in his name, I wouldn't have had to run him over with one.
Wow, folks. Go to www.patreon.com/dapperdads, where we fully admit it's okay if your name is van-related to run you over with a van. Any car-related name can be run over with that car. It's your curse to bear because your parents gave you a stupid name.
Is your last name Chevelle? That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because
I'm revving behind you, and as soon as you get out of the car in the grocery store parking lot,
you know
I'm
what?
gonna
All
run you over.
car-related things. I'm gonna go kill the band Chevelle. Actually,
I think they've killed themselves.
I think they have actually. Yeah.
Time kills us all.
Time.
So we say we hope you die sooner.
Are there more people at a Trapped show or a Chevelle show?
Email us, dapperdadspodcast@gmail.com. Tell us which one you have tickets to and if they're performing still, which
And
they are.
Trapped
both
for
of
sure
them.
is.
Yeah. Trapped has to. What's the Trapped song?
Headstrong.
Yes, okay. When I got here, I was thinking about the Stain song.
Big
It's been a
dongs,
while.
I'll take 'em on. It's been a while.
I don't know why.
Since I've
Probably because
gone
it's a song that
fuck things up, just like
exactly what I was gonna say.
always
You hear it and you're like,
do.
it's not my cup of tea, but it's a nice song. Then he's like, fuck things.
But I can still remember just the way you taste.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hate that
I forget.
line.
I think I've repressed that he says taste.
I have a weird.
But all that shit seems to
disappear
disappear when I'm with you. And I
and
can't
everything I can remember.
Stained, have your people call our people.
Stained, have Aaron Lewis stop being so right-wing now that he's a country singer. Who would have saw that?
Everyone turn country.
If you would have told me in like 2001 when I was hearing that song on the radio that like 15 years later that guy was going to be a right-wing country singer, I don't know what I would have done. But I suppose you could have told me the same thing about Kid Rock, and I wouldn't have
think
believed
a lot of artists. I mean, that's the only pivot to
You
make
see,
as an
you
Asian
see
white
Stained,
man.
Kid Rock, and Hootie and the Blowfish on tour, and you're like, all three of these men will become country singers before you die. And I'm like, who is this awful old man?
But it's just you.
It's just
currently.
me currently gone back in time just to tell myself at this shitty
I'm at
concert.
the peak of my life. Go to twitter.com. Follow us at DapperDads.
I was gonna say,
As we look over there, it's not on the board. It's
No.
never been on the board.
No.
A lot of things aren't on the board. A lot of unfortunate things are on the board.
a lot of things we don't want to see are on the board.
Yeah, a lot of our future.
Yeah,
is on the board.
there's some drawings on the board of the future that a couple came true, a couple haven't. So
Yeah,
we'll see what
we're
happens.
waiting on the other ones.
Yep.
Go to at dapperdadspodcast on Instagram. We won't be posting any of the pictures. They are too inappropriate
Far too
for
inappropriate.
Instagram, which
Graphic.
shows you everything now.
Yeah.
Horny butts. Mine has showed me yoga recently in my like explore
And
page.
you've suddenly gotten into yoga.
Ooh, there are some. It's just horny. It's another. We've talked about this before. I don't like the like. Don't lie to me. You know what I mean?
Just
You don't have to post these yoga poses, and I've seen some yoga poses that are not as horny as these.
I've seen some yoga poses that are definitely
pretzel
not
women.
yoga poses.
these big butts, and
Just
stuff.
spreading
And
everywhere.
it's the same. And I go back to see if you ever had an Instagram moment where it was just pictures of you normal, and then your beginning is these horny yoga poses. You
Right.
showed up for this,
You
so don't get mad when I DM you at 3
You
in the morning.
woke up
and
horny
say,
doing yoga, and
Can
then
I be the downward dog
Oh.
in your rising sun?
before or after I high five you?
Promo's done. Welcome to the episode.
Well,
I think.
Yeah, I think. Did we get it all out? Is it all done?
Who fucking cares?
I don't give a shit. No one gives a shit. No one's listening.
I want to, before I forget, I'm drinking Starbucks. The podcast is not sponsored
Yes,
by Starbucks.
the traditional plastic cup with a plastic straw.
Yeah, I asked for a straw now because during my vacation, they give you straws other places. And then I was like, I'll just ask. I'll be an asshole now. But I was in a line that I dedicated myself to too early and then panicked that I was going to be late for this because it was through the parking lot. I wasn't even close to the Starbucks. I was like the 5th car after the break for the road before the actual drive-through.
Good for you.
And I was like, I did it, and then I was like, oh, fuck.
Was it the one over on Harrison there?
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Because that's the.
Go
But
to
the
a
other
better one.
the other one seems worse. It's in
just
a worse
do it.
location.
Go to the other
No,
one.
that one, being out of the drive-through in that one, then you're in that road for the strip mall, and you're just holding. Like, I'll rather. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, and it's a couple minutes, and then someone pulls up, and there's the brake, and they just pull in. in front of like the car, and then I'm the 5th car back, and I was just like, oh my god, that might be the biggest dick move I've seen
I've
in
ever
years.
seen in my life.
And then you're just like, I can't believe, and you can see people in cars ahead of me like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because I'm so far removed that like if I have to get out of my car, it's gonna be like a 5-minute walk to confront the person. So then it's one of those things where you're like, and this guy's just gonna get away with it. And then the first person after the break gets out of his car, big man, dressed real nice, big man, walks up to the car. I turned my music off and started filming on my phone.
Yeah, because you were
"Here
like,
we go. I'll get out of the car and start yelling World Star in like 5 seconds. And he goes up to the window, knocks on the window, gestures, not aggressively or anything, comes back, gets in his car. That guy backs out and then goes and then gets in the back of the line. If someone did that to me, I would leave. Of course. I would never do that. And part of me is like, what if they didn't see? But I don't know how you missed that. But I was like, I want to kiss that man on the mouth.
Like,
Holy
regardless.
shit. That's such a, like,
that's a power move.
like,
To
what
one, just go up to someone's car, like, because these days anybody could have anything in their
it's
car.
scary. Yeah, that's why I won't do it. I'll just be behind you.
I'll just be
furious.
angry and cursing you for the rest
If
of
I was him,
your
I would
life.
have honked and just kept honking.
I would have
That's what I
honked and
do a lot.
lightly tapped. Just kept tap while I was honking.
But yeah, the guy backed out and went around, and I was like, I thought we should have rolled our windows down and applauded, all of us.
Yeah, we all should have bought. Someone should have bought that guy's coffee.
If I could have, like, called the Starbucks, but I'm like, this.
There's a
car's
guy.
coming
I don't know what he's gonna order.
Do I
don't know what
Venmo you, or I'm like 7 back after that guy, and I'll
just
pay.
put it on mine.
Then I got to the window finally, and like made decent time. I got here, everything was okay, and then the man at the window was so handsome. Do you ever get like, whoa? I wasn't expecting.
Well, you're
this.
just so taken aback.
And then he was
by
real
how
cool
beautiful
too.
someone is.
And he like gave me my drink, and then I was like, "Can I get a straw?" And he's like, "Of course you can." And I was like, "God, buddy,
why
I'm
can't
gonna go back
everybody be
through."
this handsome and treat me this well? You
Yeah,
know?
because I don't. Yeah, especially with drive-throughs, I never like anticipate the person, and
Usually-
sometimes the window's open, and you're like, "Holy shit, you shouldn't have been allowed in public today."
Yeah, that's how I feel. Okay, that's how I feel about everybody at the Burger King I go to. But at the top,
Yeah,
at
Burger King?
at the Burger King I go to, I'm like, you people, and I see
If I see a handsome person at the Burger King, I'm gonna be like, "Get in my car and take you to a better
I'm going
place."
to help
This
you
is
now.
like the movie with Richard Gere where he makes the prostitute into his wife.
There is a guy that you're gonna pretty woman the BK crew.
Not the whole damn crew.
It's a beautiful crew.
But maybe we open up a better establishment.
Better Burger King.
I come to you, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the podcast. I opened up an entirely new fast
I opened
food
a restaurant today full of
because I
beautiful
saw
people.
Beautiful people at
You're
the
so
Burger King. There's
inspired
one
for
guy
the
that
first
works
time in your life.
One guy works at the Burger King now because it's like when you're on like a school trip and
And
they're
it's
like,
the guy that constantly
oh, you got to
takes-
ride in the chaperone's car. The bus is full.
It's the guy that constantly takes my order whose shirt is just a wee bit too small and riding up, and I'm like, bro, why you doing? Like, you could pull the pants up a little bit. Like, I don't
a
need
bigger shirt.
get it. I
bigger
know they
shirt.
order bigger shirts because I see people bigger than him working there wearing the bigger
Just
shirts.
because you can squeeze into it doesn't mean
Need
you
it
should.
fits.
That's one of my biggest things. Not to put anyone down, but I
Yeah,
see
and
a
that's
lot
not
of
me disparaging anybody's
gross-looking
weight. That's just
people.
me saying, like,
Yeah, you can be as fat as you
comfortable,
want.
bro.
Just get like, yeah, because you're gonna bend over and everybody's gonna be
as
upset.
somebody who was really big and self-conscious about it, I would wear like tighter shirts sometimes because I would be like, oh, it makes me seem slimmer. It doesn't.
no,
You're just putting more saran wrap on the pork before you marinate it in the fridge, you know? You might as
You know that classic saying that we all say.
yeah, you know,
When you
that
see a big
classic
fat person
idiom.
with a short shirt, and you're like, "You're just putting this saran wrap on the pork before you
Why
marinate
are you
it in
saying
the
it like such a
fridge."
whiny You're just putting this saran wrap
'Cause I
on
had
the
to look
pork
at this
before you.
porky fella
Whoa.
pouring out of his shirt.
I'm just saying, look however you want. Be whatever size you are. Just be comfortable.
Like,
Just
I swear to
own
God,
it.
I tell people all the time, like, I want to just style some people when you see a real dumpy person, because I'm like, little largest shirt. Usually they're wearing socks that don't match with like their shorts.
Right, and you're like,
And their shoes are bad. And people will be like, well, I'm not going to spend $200 on Jordans. It's like Nike makes some very affordable shitty little
good-looking,
shoes that look
decent
better
shoes,
than
yeah.
whatever this isn't
Whatever
a brand
this
of shoe. This
whatever-
is just a thing.
yeah,
You're
this
wearing
is
a
like
thing.
you got this from Walmart so
Yeah.
long ago that no one recognizes what the brand is. These
And
shoes
it wasn't even
should
a
have been
brand to
thrown
begin
out.
with. It
No.
was just like
It was
the
just
great
like
value
shoe, and there
but
was
you
just
can
like
get there's Nike, there's Adidas. They make $40 Vans, just a black pair of
just
Vans,
a regular
something,
black
like,
pair of anything.
It's little things like that. Like, you don't have to spend the money. Just think about it a little bit more before looking like your closet exploded onto you.
I go to the BK. The crew is always surly looking. I'm just gonna say that.
Burger King. Burger
They're
King.
not pleasant to me.
Possibly the angriest fast food worker establishment.
Outside of a God, with Ed DeBevick's.
Yeah. I almost went into it. What's the other one? Dick's Last Resort or something? Have you ever heard of that? It's a thing. It's Dick's something. And it's an Ed DeBevick's. And when I was on my vacation, I was like looking at it because it looked like a fun place. And then my girl was like, you want to go in there and like get made fun of? And I thought she was just saying a mean thing to me like she does. And then she was like, it's like one of those places where they like pick on you. And I was like, I don't want that as an adult. As a kid, it was fun. And they don't
like
go
as an adult,
hard.
Like it'll make me
But
angry.
as a grown man, they're going to really like.
And I'm going to start saying things back that are honest.
And they're going to be like, whoa, this is my job.
I'm going to be like, well, you look like your meth head parents. Fuck.
Yeah. They're like, you didn't have to be so specific. I know.
You're like, wow.
Yeah. And as an adult, I'm like, who wants this? A nice meal while people berate you the whole time and make fun of your order and everything
funny,
about you.
Like,
and then at the end, it's like, tip me. Thanks for the enjoyable time.
Yeah. My tip is based on how mean you.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'll just be cooking people.
Yeah.
They'll be like, is this the chef? And be like, just roasting motherfuckers. Like, look at you.
Is this the
chef?
Shut up.
Especially a family.
My God.
To just brag on a dad in front of the children.
Oh, yeah. Really cut into the man stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to be an angel to the kids and the wife.
Be like, oh, you going to get your burger medium rare? Or am I going to have to give your wife the keys tonight? Huh?
Yeah. Just really lay into them.
You got to go home and be a man to your wife and make another one of these little bastards? Or you just going to keep sitting here being a big fat pussy?
Anymore. I'm like flicking his dick.
Just flicking his nipples, twisting his nipples and flicking his dick.
I get employee of the month. They're like, no one's ever went this far, and it's what we wanted. They just resort to
You're
words.
trying to get fired. You're going so far with people to the point where you're just beating them up, and everyone's like, this is the Ed DeBevick's experience.
People are like, can we sit in his section? I'm just punching
people
everybody.
Waiting for hours to get your service.
I need my 15-minute break of smoking cigarettes inside drinking. They're like,
you're burning cigarettes out on people.
This is what Dick's Last Resort was meant to be.
Dick is no longer rolling around in his grave because of how well
I'm the
this
big
man,
Dick now, baby.
The ghost of Big Dick himself has embiggened this man. But the Taco John's across the street from that Burger King, amazing service.
Oh yeah,
every time I go
Burger King is sloppy.
Yeah, that Burger
I've gotten
King,
some of the
you know which one I'm talking about.
Excuses for burgers I've ever had there.
Yeah,
like a Whopper that's bigger than it seems like it should be,
yeah,
and messier than you could ever imagine.
Why is it like that? But
I'm stupid and I like shit food.
I go there and I'm like, yeah, can I get this? And it's just like no mayonnaise, extra onions, extra ketchup. And they're like, yeah, pull around. And it's a burger that is this tall in the wrapper for some reason. And I'm like,
it's just so wide.
It's such a big sandwich every time I go. But you go to the Taco John's across the street, you pull up. If it's not the girl taking my order, who tried to throw my number at her a couple of times, but I don't think she was.
That's where I got recognized
attention.
From this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, sick of them. Yeah.
I was in the drive-thru, and it was one of those times where someone is looking at you too intently, and you're like, there's something that's about to happen.
Right, yeah.
It could be like, I hate you, I love you.
You're a piece of shit.
Everything in between. And then, she like took my card, and she's like, can I ask you a question? And I always want to be like, no, because I don't want to. She was like, do you do a podcast? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, oh, yeah. And then she was really cool. Didn't hook up any extra food.
Which is shitty.
Yeah, if I'm recognized for this, I'd want some.
If you're listening to this right now, hook us up.
You know what I mean?
You ever see us
if you
somewhere.
have something,
we have people that have hooked us up.
Oh yeah, and it's the best.
Shout out Rudy.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Rudy forever.
That just happens in general.
That just happens, and it's beautiful.
But yeah, and I've gotten hooked up at that Taco John's before because a kid that I used to work with was awesome, and then I didn't see forever, and he just gave me like a bag of other food and would give me like bigger drinks, which their drinks are so big.
They're huge.
They're like, I'll take a medium, and they're like, you mean this thing?
They're like,
and
you mean a half gallon
of stuff? Like, do you want me to strap it to the roof of the car, or
do you want me to pour some of it into your antifreeze?
I also am so glad that you brought up Taco John's, which I should have known you would,
because traditionally.
But you had talked about the potato olays and how you wanted a bigger potato olay.
Yeah.
So you know Bojangles, the fast food establishment? Mm-hmm. I stopped there on my drive home from the vacation that I'm alluding to and we'll get to momentarily in depth because there's a lot of things. And I got breakfast there, and one of their things is, I don't know what it's called, but it's implied that it's some sort of hash brown thing.
Yeah.
And the sizes were small, medium, and picnic. So I went picnic because I don't even know what that means. It implies that I can come to a blanketed outdoor situation and just have hash browns. I
feel like it implies
days.
A basket of potatoes.
That's what I thought as well. Also, when I'm in line and I like I've eaten there once and I like went in and it wasn't breakfast. I'm in line. I got my window down trying to figure out what the fuck I'm going to eat. And the man in front of me, who is like a stern older man in a pickup truck, orders I think just a coffee, like a coffee and one sandwich. And they go, "You want cream in your coffee?" And he says, "Yeah." And they ask, "How many?" And he goes, 6. And then they're like, "You want sugar?" And he says, "Yeah." And they go, "How many?" And he either said 11 or 12 after a long pause. And he looked like the kind, like I went behind him in the drive-thru, and he was one of those older gentlemen drinking a coffee and like letting it sit in front of his face, just really enjoying the coffee.
Just taking it in.
And you're like, that's a black coffee. Like, that's a blacker coffee than I can't even have that black of a coffee because I'm not that well aged yet.
Like,
I haven't
it doesn't.
earned it.
It hurts to drink a coffee that black at our age.
Like you take like the big container of coffee grounds and you pour the whole thing in and you make one single cup, and that's what that man's drinking. So then to go from that to 6 creamers and 11 or 12 sugars
is a lot.
Which is like, I would probably have a similar order. Not that many sugars. That's appalling.
Yeah, but you're in the South, too. You got to realize everything's sugar down there.
But I would never, like, I never order simply coffee at places because I don't want to have to admit how much shit I put in it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially at a drive-thru when other people can hear you and you go 6 creamers and 12 sugars? Is fucking crazy. But anyway, I get this picnic of, I wish I could remember the name. Bo something.
Yeah, Bo Taters or
something like that. I get them, start driving, pull them out. I shit you not. They are like potato olays, like little discs of hash brown shit. They are that big, circumference, and that thick.
Holy shit.
Like, as I was eating it and I was like slim, would love these. Like, they're so, like, because we've talked about wanting a bigger
Olay.
Olay.
For days just to go to Bojangles.
You don't even have to go that far, but they were incredible. Yeah. Like, better than the sandwich. The sandwich was good.
Yeah.
But
that's saying something. Just
like,
they
had,
big,
I think, some onion in it, too. Like, some additional. But yeah, I was like, I just want these. And they were just so big. I have a picture. I have 2 pictures specifically.
That's how I know
they're.
Thank you. That's how I know they're good, is when you took 2 photos of the food.
Yeah, they were literally that big.
Good
and like
Lord.
Almost an inch thick.
Now all I want is some potato.
And like when you bite into something, you're like, oh, this is like the perfect like consistency. Right. Like, this is just what I wanted to bite into. This is better than my wildest dream.
This is better than anything else that happened on this.
And I was so glad I went picnic because it was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Not enough for a picnic. If I had to nitpick, Nick, I would say not enough. Yeah, I'm that guy now.
I know, I'm trying
just wait.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I went on vacation, and it was wild. I don't even know where to begin. The first thing I want to talk about, I went to Louisville.
Okay.
Which is not the time to go to Louisville.
No.
And it was very crazy. We could not get food, and it was very scary when we tried to get food.
Okay.
Places were canceling our orders, like from the app, drove out to get it. Cops were just pulling people over everywhere. I was in a huge panic.
Yeah.
And then, so that was about that. There's not that much shit. There's other shit, but it's not as important. Then the next stop was in North Carolina at a nice cabin. The nicest place I've ever stayed. It makes the cabin that we go to every year look like a punch in the face. This was like huge. It's one of the biggest places ever. And it's like on the water. It's like a river or something. Also, driving through these places is horrifying.
Yeah.
It's so high up. Like, I was just freaking out. I drove the whole way pretty much back and forth. And you are so high, and it'll be like fine, and then like the trees break, and we're just in the mountains, and it looks so probably beautiful to some people, but absolutely horrifying. Then you're going through tunnels and just going like straight down and straight up, and people are going 80 miles an hour around you.
Thinking about this.
I was like, the way back was for some reason worse, and it just like I was drenched in sweat because you're just like.
That's how I was the first time I drove through Kansas City, because it's like 16 lanes of highway or something like that. And the first time I ever went through it, the person I was with, it was my girlfriend at the time, and she was like, just let me do it. And it's because she's like, I've done this before. Yeah. I'll just do it. And so we like pulled over at like a Taco Bell right before we got into the city, and then we drove through it, and she's like, do you see? I'm like, yeah, as I'm like trying not to puke in a bag. And then like we were driving, it was some trip we took, and like she just wasn't feeling well, so I had to do it, and I was like sweating and like almost cry. Like, it's scary, especially when you're in the middle of all of it. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'll talk about the way
just
back,
trust people,
which is crazy,
in cars like this,
and people do it like it's nothing.
Yeah, people do it every day. Like this is my life.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like 80, and it'll be like those turns where you're like completely like circling back and it's
Yeah,
going
like they
lower.
recommend going like 45 and these people are doing 90.
And I get the thing when I turn for too long, it gets to like a certain point where I just jerk because it's starting to feel like
It feels
you're just
bad,
turning for so it feels wrong. And like I jerk and I'm like, yeah, at one point, I'll talk about the way back when we get there. But this first cabin is in North Carolina. It's in like the middle of nowhere. It's like basically in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
And so we like stop at a Walmart and then it's like 10 minutes from there. That whole 10 minutes is basically straight up, which scares me so much more because I always feel like the car is going to like break and slide back down, which is one of my biggest like irrational fears is rolling backwards down a steep hill. And like this shit is so high that they have these big mirrors to show you what's coming up around these turns.
I hate
and shit.
that.
Because you can't
It's not a
see.
fucking theme park ride. It's a road. Why would you build a road there?
I know.
You're
This is like how I talk about when we go to the cabin and
Yeah.
it's like crazy. This also makes that look like nothing.
I was saying, I feel like when we go to the cabin next year, you're just gonna be, you're just leisurely doing 90 over the. We're all just like,
yeah,
your
'Cause
axle's scraping everywhere, the food's flying out. You're just like, this
yeah,
is fine.
this shit was because it'll be straight up like 55, and then there'll just be a sharp turn. So there's mirrors showing you that maybe something's happening. And the thing is, like, I knew that the place we were staying was basically on the water. And I kept saying, we're going so high up. How is this going to be on the water? Like, we're going very, very, very high up. So then we get to, it's like a little gravel thing, the address. And I have, like, I printed out instructions because it said, like, your GPS won't work and there's certain things to follow. So you pull up down the driveway. And then it goes, like, a little steep drop down. And it's gravel, and there's a bunch of holes in the gravel, and the gravel is slipping while I'm, like, on the brake. And then maybe 20 feet is just a cliff very high up. So it feels like if you make not even that big of a mistake, you drive off a very high cliff. I was like having a full-blown panic attack, and like I had tears in my eyes, and I was like shaking because it's just like straight down.
Yeah, it's stressing
gravel.
me out hearing about
and
this.
Yeah, you have your foot on the brake, and you just keep slipping, and you basically have to like inch down, and then it's like sharp turnaround, and then a sharp turn, and then a gate that you have to get out and unlock, which was nice.
Why would you even do this? Like, why would you even devise a place to get into? Like, unless... Go on, sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Because then after you get past the gate and you close it again.
Once you get through the Hall of Mirrors, you must not fall off the edge of the slippery cliff. It's like an episode of the floor's lava or something.
It goes even sharper down, and then one part is paved, but you're going like this, and then it'll be like a I don't like. I took a video of it. It's one of those things that like you can't explain. It's just that.
It just sounds. It sounds like a theme park ride.
Took a video of going out because I couldn't do it after that. Going and coming, I had to have my girl do it because I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, and luckily, because the plan was to go there and then go get the food, and we just passed a Walmart, and we were like, it probably makes more sense to just get the food.
Stuff and then go.
Because I wanted to wait because you never know what they have. This place was so stocked with everything. It's like you're just in someone's house. They had everything you could imagine. But yeah. Like getting in and out is absurd. And then we get there and like open the door and there's like shit everywhere and there's a car. So I'm like, maybe it's the person, maybe they wait to meet you, which I hate.
Yeah. And
so like we open the door and there's like no one, and then we're like, hello. And the cleaning lady comes out from downstairs because she didn't realize anyone was coming. And she was like, I'm not done cleaning yet. I'm sorry. You guys scared the shit out of me. And then she was like, it's going to be like another hour. You can like look outside, which there's a lot to look at.
Yeah.
And then eventually just sat down and drank 4 beers while I waited for her to finish.
Nothing wrong with that.
And then we asked her when she was finally like, I'm done. We were like, oh, how do you feel about that driveway, right? And she was like, what? Not even like a problem. And she's like, yeah, I guess the first time is a little nerve-wracking, but you get used to it. And she's like, because that's just how it is out here. She's like, my house is just like just straight up a hill. It's like, and you see some when you're driving around that have even crazier driveways. It seems where it's just like, how do you do this?
Like, how do you even get a car up
there?
Yeah,
God forbid it.
Got to shift it into 3 and 3 or 2 and just.
And yeah, you just see people will pass you. People are just whipping down shit.
I mean, I guess if you've always lived around it and you're used to it, it is just
makes
life.
Sense. That's what we were talking about with like, but yeah, I've always said from driving, because I don't fly, like when I drove to Florida, you could drop me in the middle of this country and like it doesn't look as interesting as you think. Like a lot of things are just flat highway, billboards, same 7 restaurants. I've never been anywhere where I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Even when you
Right.
get to Florida, there's just some palm trees and then more of the same.
Right, yeah.
This shit was like nothing I've ever experienced. I don't want to do it ever again. It was so terrifying.
If I had to describe you as a person, it would be that collection of sentences. I've never experienced this before. It was insanely different from anything I've ever seen in my life. I hated it, and I never want to do it again.
I know what I like.
Yeah,
I'm a grown
exactly.
man.
Yeah.
I'm a little kid out here driving up and down roads.
I'm not just going to be out here doing all this crazy adventure and driving through gravel
I feel
roads.
hot thinking about it.
Yeah, I feel the heat coming off of you while you're
and
talking
I wish,
about
yeah,
it. It
I
sounds
wish
like a
you could
nightmare.
see pieces of it. But then, yeah, so the place is fucking magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the next day, the first full day, I want to go down the water. They have fucking tubes in, like, the basement area that you can use. So we get some tubes, get some rope, get out on the water, and just tie them together and just sit. Because, like, it's not a big river. And, like, a little bit up, there's a bunch of rocks with, like, a crazy, like, current. And, like, I walked out as far as I could, and it got to where I couldn't walk anymore, and the current was pretty kicking. So it's, like, a decent little river, but it's not very big at all. So I, of course, decided to break out the Speedo.
Of course.
And I hid it under my shorts again. But I was like, it's very, very secluded. It's very, like, it's so crazy. It's one of those things where you can look up and just see mountains, and it starts to feel, like, not real and make you kind of freak out, even though, like, you're just grounded. But you're like, this shouldn't look
You're
like
I
this.
shouldn't be here. Like, this isn't right.
Yeah, it looks like a movie or something. So I break out the Speedo. I am wearing, for this event, my big sun hat. These sunglasses I found in the house that are like the 80s wrestler ones that are real big, like the ones Riff Raff wears.
Yeah.
I have a clear waterproof fanny pack that I'm wearing across my chest like Hypebeast kids do instead of around my waist, and then the Speedo. So I'm looking great.
Yeah.
And then we got drinks, whatever. Get into the tube. The Speedo becomes much more unfortunate when you're hunkered down in the tube because it really
Starts.
When I stand in the Speedo, I'm not like, this is my proudest moment, but it doesn't look bad. At the same, you've seen it. You know what I mean? There's something.
It's been inches away from my face.
There's something there. There's something. It's not like the saddest it could be. When you put it in the tube and it flops down and your thighs encompass it,
Yeah.
it's different.
You just look naked. You just look like a naked man.
Yeah, but there's a little piece, like maybe like an interesting woman, because there's
yeah.
no hump to it. There's no anything.
A cute lady.
So yeah, I'm sitting in there. We're out there for probably like 4 hours, if not longer. And eventually, towards the end of it, I started to realize that my arm is on fire.
Yeah.
My upper left arm
Because
is
you probably did not
burning.
apply enough sunscreen.
I didn't apply any, of course, because I traditionally don't. I get like a little burn that doesn't bother me. In a day or two, I get tan. So I never really think about it.
Yeah.
My girl sprayed me a bit, but I think it was too far into it to make up for it. But I'm like, my arm is on fire. Like, God has a magnifying glass against
he
the
is
sun,
frying
and it's
me.
just here. And it's one of those things where you bring it up, but then you're drunk, and then you get talking, and you forget, and then you're like, also, like I said, my arm is fucking burning.
Yeah, so if we
Then
could
you're
do
like,
something
"But
about
I
this."
do like sitting out here. I don't know how we're going to follow this up. This is much more fun. And then eventually I'm like, okay, I have to get out. And then it's one of those things where, like, going to the thing, no problems. And then when you realize it's devastating, like how much work you have to do to get back, because now you're drunk and you have so much shit and you've thrown shit. I trapped a bee in a cup because it wouldn't stop fucking with me.
Sounds about right.
Everything sucked. And then I'm like realizing like how hot I am. And then this place has an outdoor shower. So I get to that and turn the water on, and it is excruciatingly painful on my thighs. And then I realize that my thighs were just baking.
Yeah, because you
and
were...
I don't think they've ever
Because, yeah, you don't have your
sunburned.
thighs out like that. No.
And what happened is we had recently talked about sunburns.
Yeah.
And I said I don't remember like the worst one ever. This is significantly worse than the memory of any sunburn I ever had.
Really?
Like, it was one of those things where like I'm standing there probably like 15 minutes out of the water, and I'm looking, and they are bright red, like immediately, and I'm like, this is gonna get worse.
Yeah.
And like I'm still just
Like,
like
this is how you get like sunsick. Like,
yeah. And it's like
thinks about the 3 days you don't remember on the vacation because you were sunsick.
well, that's the other thing and then it clicks, and I'm like, the next day we're going to go to the highest point of the Smoky Mountains hiking, and I'm like, I think I might have. It's one of those things where like I think I might have ruined the whole trip because I didn't think about my thighs. Then I go inside and I like try to lay down, and it's just like throbbing and painful.
Yeah.
And then when I get up, I look at it, and it was just
lobster red,
yes,
like
exactly
just beet red,
lobster
like
red, and it hurt so bad. I went and sat on the couch in my boxers, and even my boxers just gracefully
Just
touching it. It's
touching
like
it.
I'm putting ice packs on it. I'm Googling shit. I found black tea and brewed it and put that on it because people are like, that will make it go away immediately, even the worst sunburn. And I'm like, I need to write a letter to whoever wrote this because this is like soothing a little bit, but absolutely nothing to like help me here.
Right.
And of course, we don't have like aloe or any of this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And do you want to see it? I can show you it. I mean, at least, it's healed, but I feel like I can show you. There's like a line. It's going to get a little risky.
That's fine.
But
I've just said the Speedo's been inches away from my face.
Do you see? And that's
I can see where the line
healed.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like this, and just this hole is starting to like,
wow.
Like now?
Yeah, my
just
my shoulders have gotten like, where is it? So this one is like, there's so many more freckles on them now.
Oh, yeah.
And my girl was like rubbing my shoulders like earlier last week, and she's
she
like
icky.
She was like, gross. Why am I touching you? But she was like,
per tradition.
Per tradition. She's like, oh, gross. I forgot it's you. I thought you were someone I loved. I was like, oh, and she was like, your shoulders got a lot of freckles this summer. And I was like, I was really only outside a lot for like a month because we did the cabin at the beginning of August, then we had the lake in the middle, and then we had the other cabin at the end.
Yeah.
And like I got sun on all those trips, but like it wasn't like I didn't think anything of it, you know?
Yeah.
But then like I looked at it and everything, and it's like I'm like littered with freckles in a pattern of like a wife beater or a tank top. And I'm like,
and that's why I didn't like think much of it because like putting sunscreen on because I had done all those things. I'd also went tubing. Like I'd been
right. You'd actually been in the sun a lot more than me. So,
yeah,
like,
and I thought I had achieved my sun. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like I didn't get any sun on like the part that shows when I wear my shorts, but from there up, and it was just like, oh my god, it was so painful and just terrible. And then trying to sleep,
I just can't. I can't because you sleep on your back, right? No, stomach sleeper. Yeah.
Which the first night, if I was able to sleep, I sleep on my side and stomach, and I kind of like flail around and wake up screaming a lot. But like if I could lay just on my stomach, it was fine. But then like the next 2 nights, I had to sleep like on my back and could barely sleep. And it's just like you're radiating heat, and it just stings and burns, and like taking showers and everything. Like it looked so fucked up.
I also did something to myself that made it hard to sleep while you were gone. I got a longboard. And so, yeah, a lot of people hate it.
That's the one thing.
A lot of people hate it.
Where I'm like, I think because I grew up skateboarding, like longboarding is just like stupid in my mind.
It's easier for me because it's bigger.
Yeah,
you know?
I know,
so,
and it doesn't like really tip over that easily.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure that's where you're leading.
No, this thing tips like a motherfucker. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but like I mean, stand on a skateboard.
Yeah, no, it's different.
It's gonna be a lot different.
Well, and so I skateboarded when I was younger, so like I picked it up pretty quick once I like got my balance figured out again and like my stance. And so I, of course, being very enthusiastic, because on the first day I did better than I thought I would.
Are you doing this in your neighborhood, or are you going somewhere?
Well,
are you going to the skate park and dropping in?
Yeah, I'm just
the longboard that eats it.
I'm just like, what's up, fellow kids?
What's
up, fellow kids? You guys want to listen to some NoFX today?
I saw a grown man in a NoFX shirt at a Starbucks, and I started screaming.
Hey guys, I've got the Tony Hawk Pro Skater original soundtrack. Y'all want to listen? And actually, yeah. But no, so initially, me and my buddy went to just like an empty parking lot and did it because he's like, you want to do it on like a flat,
right? Tennis court. Go to a tennis court.
That's not a bad idea.
That's the move.
We went to
but be careful because that's where I demolished my knee trying to show Kurt how to skateboard. And got too enthusiastic as well.
Very topical. You know the Wendy's over on Mulford and Riverside.
Yeah.
There's that like kind of, it's like that weird shopping center there.
Yeah.
Everything on the side of that's abandoned. So we just went to that big empty lot on the side, and we were going around there for a minute, and then we went to the park by my house, that trail around Midway Village there. I went and I did that whole thing, and so I was feeling very confident in myself. I'm like, this feels good. I can do this. And so the next night I went out with my girl, and like she was trying it, and I was like, do this, and we like went around the block a couple of times.
Pushing her down a hill.
Well,
try this, honey, and then make
try
her
this, and
bomb
then
a hill.
smacking her ass so she was flying down the road.
It.
Well, and
like,
so
that was radical, babe.
Well, and so we like, whoa, tubular.
You guys make out on the board together.
Yeah, in the middle of the road, cars are honking at us. I'm like, why?
But they're honking out of joy.
They're honking.
Like,
they're like, the guy was on the road. I'm honking because you're horny. But so it was like 2 or 3 days ago, I went to go take it out before work. And it was like middle of the afternoon.
You sound like a man with his like classic car. I was gonna take it out before I had to head into work.
Before I had to pop in the old 8 hours, figure I'd drive the old caddy around. And so I go out and I pop my earbuds in and I'm just like going down the street and I don't know what happened, but it was like I went to go like get momentum and like my body lurched forward as I was like doing it and I started like doing one of those and
I would pay so much money to watch this happen.
I was so happy nobody was there because I like looked after it happened and there was nobody because usually you know my neighborhood there's people like sitting outside and like walking around there's always somebody doing it's sketchy.
I hate picking you up.
I love my neighborhood. But like, thank God it was like 1 PM, so everybody was at work or sleeping, so nobody was around. And yeah, you know how it is. And so I get up and I'm like, and I'm like looking and I'm like feeling it and I'm like checking all the important things. I'm like, okay, everything still bends, everything still moves.
Bone is popped out.
I'm like, my head's not bleeding. I'm like looking all over. And I see this.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But it was like,
it was going.
But it was like, it was like the big pieces of skin were torn up. And recently, with all the hand sanitizer I've been applying at work and stuff, my hands have gotten very dry and just callousy. I think that kind of saved my ass a little bit because I think if I'd been lotioning up my hands and they were baby soft, it wouldn't have gone as well. But it got like the hard, rough meat right here in my hand. And so I'm like, wow. And I'm just like, oh boy. And so I'm like, and I hit my knee so hard. It's always the knee because as I was going down, my brain was like tuck and roll. And so I like tried to tuck and roll, but my hand took it. And so it's like one of those things where you're trying, but something bad happens during the fall that fucks everything else up, you know?
Yeah.
And so it like hit the hand, pain from the hand happened, knee went down because of the pain in the hand, and then everything else just got fucked. But I like kept my head up and it's like I went hand, knee, and then rolled. And I'm like, this is the most useless way to do anything. And so I got up and I'm like kind of hobbling back to the house and I'm like stretching out. I'm like, okay, I don't think anything's broken. If it is broken, all the adrenaline's making it feel not broken. So I'm like, let's just hop back on and glide back to the house and we'll be all right. And so I get back on, almost happens again, 30 feet down the road. I start gliding, I go, I push, I go to get another little bit of momentum. My body lurches forward, and I'm like, okay, we're just going to walk back to the house. I'm just going to carry the board and walk back to the house. I get back in the house, and I'm like, okay. And so I, like, take, like, some cuticle clippers and clean that up, and I'm, like, dumping peroxide on it. Like, it's like an old war movie. I'm burning it with a big old torch. And then I go to take a shower because I'm like, well, better get cleaned up before work. And got some real nice road rash here on the knee.
Yeah.
And you can see some nice bruising going on around it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, like, I go to crouch down now, and I get to the last quarter of the crouch, and I think I might have a hairline fracture in my knee. Yeah. Because it just
even that
hurts.
scab when they heal, and then you crack them again.
Yeah. That keeps happening.
Because it can't.
Well, the first
unless you want to never bend your knee.
Well, and I go to work that day, and I'm, like, feeling really good for, like, 4 or 5 hours. I'm like, I feel fine. I'm like, yeah, I got a little banged up, but I'm like, I think I'm okay. Blah, blah. And then, like, I leave at 10, it's like 7 o'clock, and my body just gives up. Like, I'm just sitting there at the computer, like, going through emails, and I'm like, I couldn't focus. Like, I was just, like, watching the time pass, and it's like one of those things where, like, your body's just shocked, and it's like, you need to be at home, like, laying down or at least, like, eating something, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I went home, and, you know, when, like, you're trying to fall asleep, and, like, the scab is just rubbing on... First I'm wearing like sweatpants, and I'm like, these got to come off. Then it's just rubbing on the sheets. Then my hands rubbing on things, and then the pain inside of it, where it feels like ache, but then it's like itchy on the outside, where you want to itch it, but you can't itch it because it's a fucking scab.
This was like when I was like 13, 14, 15.
Yeah,
this is how like my hands and knees
and
were,
and this is how it made me feel like a kid again.
Live with it, because I remember when my hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Like, this sucks.
Like or when it's like the fucking. Like asphalt, but it's like rocks put together, and you get like you'd get like the impressions
of the
little
rocks in your hands,
everywhere, and at the palms. Because that's what you're not supposed to do is catch yourself, which is the crazy thing. Because you're like, of course,
your body's always like, catch yourself. You don't want to break your face or your neck.
That's what. Yeah, being good at like skating is like being good at falling before being good at anything to do with the skateboard. And I used to always just be stiff and shit because you see people like jump over stairs and bail and like do that and fall perfectly, and then I jump over stairs and like, ow, scrape everything.
Well, there was a piece of me that like was happy I did that, because it was like, now
again.
Well, I felt alive again, and two, it's like now I kind of know what to expect and avoid next time it happens. Yeah, until I break my fucking arm.
Until you fall on a curb and a piece of your wrist like jets out a little bit, and then you fall months later and it goes back in, and then you're just an adult now. Sometimes it hurts and cracks, but you're like, I think
my boss said, even if I break both my arms and both my legs, I'm still coming to work. Nice. So yeah,
I'm excited to come shop once you're I don't know what that even is.
When I'm hobbling around.
Just looking like
Can you get me that off the top shelf, sir?
Longboarding accident.
Sorry, dude. I got a little too tubular out on the streets.
I have a tubular injury that I experienced as well. I'm trying to think of the series of events. Then after that one, that was basically. Oh yeah, then I fucking went to the Smoky Mountains. You hiked
in the Smoky Mountains.
And went to it's like the highest peak, and it's like you go to this point, like you can drive up there. My girl had to drive it, luckily, because it's even scarier because it's just like a national park.
Everything about this just sounds scary.
And you just look out and more, and then you're like in the clouds, and you're looking out, and there's like clouds and a couple mountain peaks and tops of trees down there. And some of those you'll be like, turn the corner, trees, opening, and it's just like. And yeah, it was just a lot of me going like, her driving perfectly and not being fazed by it. So then, you go up to this point and like you get out of the car and it is so much colder than wherever you came from. And it's like, it was also raining that day, not crazy.
That probably didn't help, yeah.
Yeah, so you get up there and then it's it's like 0.8 miles to the top to like the outlook thing that you can go to. And it's paved, but it's so steep. Like I thought it would be chill, like it's not that far of a walk.
It just sounds like everything on this vacation is just higher up from the last thing, and it's just a continual series of roads and stairs and driveways with cliffs and trees.
No stairs. You'd want like I kind of wish that path
prayed for stairs,
because then when you're walking just upright, it does a big number on my knees, and then going down always scares me that you're gonna slip and just fall down. And like just like right over here
just you sliding down the gravel.
This was paved, but like just right over there is the edge of a cliff with there's nothing. There's no like, they don't give a fuck about anybody. And like people, you're going up and everyone is breathing heavy. Even like I passed a big fit man when I was going down and he's like, we had to like stop
because the air is so thin.
The air's thin, and it's just
that's how it was when I was in Santa Fe. I was just walking around, and people.
But this is like almost 7,000 feet up.
Yeah, that's like
air.
A crazy
it's like,
elevation.
A mile and a half or something is like the peak, and like people are stopping. People aren't making it up. Just the.
Let's say so. How did you feel, Mr. Newport?
You get used to it, and then I just with many things I'd just rather power through it. You stop and you just become so much more aware. You know what I mean? And it's also like I'm gonna do this.
I mean, like, what was it like? You were like really exerting yourself. Like, what did it feel like?
You're just out of breath because it's just a steep walk. Yeah, the air is thin, and it's just like
it's probably something I couldn't even do.
I feel like you could. You drive. It's like 45, or no, it was like an hour and a half from our cabin to that place. And in the park, you're in it for like 45 minutes just to get to this, just to walk up it. So that's how high up and how long it takes just to get up there. So it's like, I'm not turning around. I don't even like heights, but you know what I mean? Like, this has been so much work. So yeah, walking the
I don't like heights either. All this is freaking me out.
I don't like it, but sometimes then I'm like, let's do this thing because I think it won't be as bad. And if anyone told me anything about it, then I probably wouldn't do it.
Right.
But I'm like very proud that I did it because we got to the top and then it's like this big area and then you walk on this cement path that winds up to this just big like outlook thing that you can stand on. And like walking up that thing, turning around, like we got close to the top and you're just like, it's so fucking crazy. And then like right when you get to like the big platform, there's immediate like seats around like the base of it. And I had to like, when you have to like ground yourself because it feels so crazy. So like had to sit down for a minute. And it took my girl like an extra minute or two because she goes, I don't I don't know if I can do it anymore. And I said, fuck that. And I kept walking because I'm like, we're all the way up here. You don't turn around on the path up to the overlook after that.
Like at that point, yeah, it's like I would just power through.
And so then you go out and like walk out to the edge of it, and it's so scary. And there's people up there who are like, I can't even look at this. And that's what I mean. Like,
this sounds like a nightmare. Everybody's breathing heavy. People can't finish it, and then they get up there so close, and they're like, I can't look.
And it's like a gloomy day. Apparently, like on a very clear day, you can see like 100 miles.
Yeah,
like so
I believe
far.
it.
And this, I could see enough. I feel like if I seen more, I would be more scared.
You would have jumped.
You're above the clouds.
Yeah.
Like, it's so... it's another thing where it's, like, hard for your brain to process that you could, like...
Because you're so used to, like, sitting in a room with a computer all day that, like, suddenly you're miles above the earth.
You hear about planes and stuff, and you're like, obviously. But, like, being able to walk and just walk around
just
and I'm above the
be
clouds
grounded,
and I can
like,
take a piss or smoke a
shit,
cigarette.
and I can jack off on top of a mountain.
Just jerking off. But yeah, like standing
all that
out.
thin air, you got the least impressive jack off you've ever had in your life.
The best.
Like, you imagine?
The cum has to be great.
Just how big and choked out your dick is with all that thin air.
But yeah, so we got to the edge of it, looked out, took a couple pictures, had someone take a picture of us, and then walked back down. And like I said, I'm glad I did it. I don't think I had to. Like, it's not as impressive overall, probably, because it's just mostly terrifying. And then we went to Gatlinburg, which is on the other side of the park. And no one told me that after going to Gatlinburg, you would have to drive all the way back through the park the way we came in. So you have to do all of it again, like looking at all this shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get better no matter how many
it
novelty
never
drinks you
does.
drink in Gatlinburg. Which one was at a like a slushy place. Because my whole thing, I'm on vacation. I never get fun novelty drinks.
Right.
It's one of my favorite things. And this feels like a lot of places, like touristy places, I feel like is where you're gonna get that.
Right, yeah.
So like we ate at this place, and the whole time like I'm looking out this window, and there's like a place that's like something slushies, alcoholic slushies, and I'm like, if I don't see anything that looks better than that, I'm gonna get these alcoholic slushies. And yeah, didn't really see anything else. Went to the Ripley's there, and then was like, I think we should get some alcoholic slushies. So we go in, this place is a shithole, like just a shitty little piece of shithole. And we sit at the bar, and it's like another couple that doesn't even look like
Sorry, I gotta go. My wiener kids are listening.
There's like another couple that doesn't even look like they're having a good time. And you sit down, and then it was a nice lady, rattles off all the slushies, and they're like pre-made, and I did not follow anything except there was a Jack and Coke slushie, which is not what I'm talking about. Like, I want something festive and tropical. But I had heard strawberry. I'm like, you said strawberry? Yeah. So I get that. It's in this big color-changing cup. It's a good slushie. Alcoholic slushies always make me feel like there's not actually alcohol in them.
It goes one way or the other.
There's
it's
like
like
a lot or there's none.
Yeah, it's like the they're like fantastic, like the old-fashioned slushies we get at the old-fashioned, or they're like the bagged dollar bullshitty. What are those? What's that brand?
Oh, I know what you mean. Like the daiquiri things?
Yeah, like you see them in the coolers.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever read the brand. You just noticed the bag. You know what I mean?
Can I bum another one? Because they fill a cooler with them at Walmart, and they're like, come get your pre-frozen margaritas.
Right.
You're like 19, and your girlfriends all come over, and they brought a bunch of those, and they just dump them in a big bucket, and they all start sharing the bucket and drinking them, and you're like, is this gonna go where I think it's gonna go tonight? And then just the fat friend hangs out afterwards, and you're like, well, okay.
Could still go.
And then she comes downstairs, and she's like, I think I might be bisexual. And I'm like, okay, you're just a little drunk off of some strawberry unbranded daiquiris.
Out of a bucket.
You're drunk off. Are you bucketsexual, honey? You only get sexual when you drink out of a bucket.
I'd be very bucketsexual because
I'm exclusively
I had some smaller buckets. Size doesn't matter.
No,
right? It better not.
Ladies, size doesn't matter when it comes to being a bucketsexual.
So yeah, we have these slushies. They're in slushie machines. The slushie itself was delicious, and I felt like when I walked away from the place, I felt like a slight buzz. But yeah, you can never tell. Like those old-fashioned slushies, you feel like one of those. You're like
one of those. You're like, I need a platter of cheese curds, and I want to grab a Packer girl's butt.
Yeah. So it was good, but then it even felt like a job, like that much slushy. Like at the end,
like drinking all the slushy.
And they gave me a broke straw immediately. And you know what I mean?
Then
so you flip it over, but then you're gonna get to that point, and then I had to rip it off, and everyone's looking at me crazy.
I'm trying to figure out the conundrum with an alcoholic slushy because I've tried making my own at the house, and what I'll do is I'll like go get a Sonic slushie and drink like, I don't know, a fifth of it and then put liquor in it and mix it up.
I've been doing the Island Oasis with because on the back the recipe is just for slushies, like that's what that's made for primarily. And yeah, I just do it with ice and vodka, and I made some at my house during this whole quarantine shit. And like the first one, I felt like the same way where I was like, I'm not sure. So the second one, I really ramped it up. Yeah. And then you're like, this is alcoholic.
This has some liquor in
alcohol.
it. Remember? Oh God, do you remember? Maybe like 10 years ago when you could buy like the TGI Fridays like mudslide in the bottle and stuff, and like the chocolate volcano drinks and shit, but there like was liquor in them already. I remember me and the people I was hanging out with bought a bunch of those one night because they were on like clearance at Woodman's or something in the big cart, and we were drinking. I love that cart. Bless that cart.
Gonna buy that cart one day.
That cart's gonna be in heaven. When I die and go to heaven, that cart's gonna be at the gate, just rattling full of bottles.
I just want to take the cart up like it's my cart and be like, just take it. And then they're like, it's $400, and you're like, well, maybe we could nitpick some stuff out. I don't need all these shooters.
I don't need a shooter of oyster liquor.
I don't need loose cans of Busch Light. The Busch Light is $10.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll go buy a case of Busch Light. So, like, how much are you charging me for a can?
Then they're like, yeah, minus the Busch Light, it's $397.
You're like, wait a minute.
Keep the Busch Light then. What is the problem here? And they're like, I don't know. It's a cart full of liquor. What did you expect?
I suppose fair pricing on Lucy's of liquor.
But yeah, so the slushy place, the girl like is just done with her shift. One of those where they don't tell you, just no one's there anymore. And then this really cool guy shows up with this girl and introduces himself immediately. This man is wearing...
I love a bartender that introduces himself. Can we just say that?
I like it normally, but not where this led. Because, and you could tell right away, the guy's wearing like the bandana for like the face protection, but he just has it down. You can tell it's more of a fashion statement than the mask. He's wearing so many rings, which a man wearing a bunch of rings, like a lot.
On every finger?
Almost. I'd say 7 rings out of 10 fingers.
You have to have
thumb rings, which are always wrong.
Always wrong.
Okay.
Fingers are fine. Thumbs are wrong.
But like,
if you're gonna wear rings on every finger, you gotta have a certain amount of drip to do so. You know, you gotta be a certain kind of guy to do it.
And it's not this guy.
You gotta be like, can we say 2 Chainz can wear rings on every finger?
Yeah, and they're like gold rings and like fancy, like big drip rings.
Jesus era Kanye could wear rings on every hand.
A lot of rappers can wear rings.
Yeah.
The white weird dude, that's just like the
white guys
silicone rings.
Okay, I hate this the more you're talking about it.
I
was thinking he had like some shine or something.
No. None of them were a single like
that. Not even
silver.
No rocks.
No.
That sucks.
Just like I'm gonna put on a bunch of rings.
Oh, so I feel like I know exactly who this guy is based on the scarf accessory and the silicone rings.
And he's talking too much.
Does he have little bracelets on?
I believe he did, but it was like a longer shirt. But this will paint the picture because what I'm about to say should never happen ever. He says, "Do you guys like Rick and Morty?" And then
I just get up and leave.
Yeah, and
I would leave the bar.
I base it off of the person. Because anyone asking, I don't want.
Was he saying it to you guys, to you specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
He pulled up. He's like, I want to say Tristan. This is some other girl that was working there. But then
Tristan
it seemed like
with the silicone rings asked you if you like Rick and Morty.
And it seemed like those two had like a thing. He called her babe a lot, but it didn't seem
like
reciprocated.
Maybe they're like a gay best friend or something.
No, I don't think he was gay. I don't know. It didn't matter. But he says, "Do you like Rick and Morty?" I said like kind of or whatever to like get away from it. Then he produces the backpack that he's wearing and he dumps out 250 Rick and Morty stickers from wish.com on the bar top. I'm not even kidding.
You can't make that up.
I know. You shouldn't. And I don't know if you've ever had someone dump out 250 stickers of any kind in front of you.
I have, actually.
It's a lot of stickers.
It's a lot. You don't think about it when you order it from Wish because you're like, oh, 250 stickers, whatever. And then you get it in the mail and it shows up in a box and you are like, I don't remember ordering a box.
Don't worry, because then he thoroughly explained how Wish.com works. And there's just so many stickers and he's flipping them over. And the girl is looking for her sunflower stickers, which are included loosely.
Okay.
And yeah, he's just like talking about Rick and Morty, and there's some of the weirdest, there's the Rick and Morty ones that you.
But these are like the off-brand, like Rick and Morty
like,
Chinese ones that they make.
Or like weird mashups of like
other characters,
Rick is
like
someone.
They did like the Run the Jewels one.
Yeah,
and
just
then,
like shit where you're like, what kind
This
of
isn't
very
licensed,
specific
like-
person is this for? Where it's
Who's
like,
the person-
I like Rick and Morty, and I like the TV show Dinosaurs from when we were kids. So this is Rick if he was the baby dinosaur. And you're like, who wanted that?
I like Rick and Morty, and I'm really into Steely Dan. So here's Rick and Morty as the two main guys who have been in Steely. I mean, if we're gonna,
And he's like, take one if you want one. And it's like, I don't want one. I want one.
I don't want to be the guy that takes a Rick and Morty sticker at a slushy shithole. Okay, like call me crazy. I don't think
Pretty sure it was called Dude's Slushies too, something like that.
you wouldn't catch me putting my lips on anything in dude's slushies.
And I wanted to take one just so I could produce it right now, just so I could always. But then the best part is like my girl picks one out of like awkwardness.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to put them back in his backpack, which is an endeavor in itself because it's 250
50 stickers.
he takes the one that we
249.
had pointed out, and which I was like, that's fine, just go away.
Just take it, bro.
And also like my girl, who doesn't really care for Rick and Morty at
Yeah.
all, pointed out how
She never struck me as the type.
yeah, you know, like an
Turns out she's a
intelligent person.
huge closeted Rick and Morty fan.
Yeah, you should see her in the Pickle Rick costume.
Oh my
'Cause
god,
that's what
she's in the
she
Pickle
brought
Rick
up.
costume talking about. She didn't bring up Pickle Rick.
She did because as a normal person,
And that's
who-
what you know because
well,
of all this.
she said like, God, they really do the Pickle Rick thing because there's like, I'd say out of the 250 stickers,
There's a lot of
70% of them are pickle related. You know what I mean? And
that
she,
makes it so much funnier that it's like a noticeable percentage of Pickle
I mean,
Rick stickers.
and
in
he's
there.
like flipping them over like cards.
He's
so
like, there's a
it's
lot
like-
of Pickle Ricks.
And I'm
in
just
here.
trying to get through this slushy. So I
Pickle
can get
Rick
the
with
fuck out
Carl
of
from
here.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force face. Pickle Rick.
But that's
with,
what. So she says it like just a normal person would. Like, wow, that's a lot because she's not as involved with the Rick and Morty universe.
If you tell me he screamed the Pickle Rick thing,
He didn't scream it, but he said it, and then he was like, "Yeah, they really do lean into pickle. It's the most popular thing." And then started to like talk about the episode, and it's like, I never need to have this. If I went the rest of my life
breakdown of the Pickle Rick
without,
episode.
but this is what we talked about because I've talked about like the Rick and Morty fandom is one of the worst fandoms.
Yeah.
and it kind of came out of
Traditionally.
nowhere. It just was like boom.
It
and
like
then-
it was okay, and then like because I remember there was a guy I worked with at Target, and he was like a cool ass guy, and one of the things we
Yeah.
would do is hang out, and like once a week he would DVR the new Rick and Morty when it came out.
Yeah.
We'd like hang out, smoke weed, and watch the
It's
new Rick and Morty.
really good show. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
it's really
it's
funny.
really
it's
good.
very smart, which is the first thing people love to tell you.
They tell
and that's
you
what
it's
I mean.
such an
Like,
intelligent show.
I don't
you know?
even talk to anyone about it. I watch it.
What's
I
crazy-
giggle, and then I like leave it alone.
I feel like Futurama was a smarter show than Rick and Morty is, but nobody talks about it like that.
Right. I don't know, but yeah, that's what. And we've talked about it before. Like Rick and Morty people, you can't wear a Rick and Morty thing.
You
can't even
can't,
like
no.
hint at it because someone will come and go crazy on you about it.
They will go.
And I've had people be like, "Well, you don't like the show," blah blah blah, and it's like, no, the fans have ruined it.
I
As they do with,
really
like, a lot
like
of
the
things.
show. I
I
like
love
talking to.
Simpsons, but I don't go around all the time. I do too often say, "Oh, that's like the episode of Simpsons," and like,
And
but
I
that's in
too
my,
often say a Simpsons quote.
yeah, and that's
without
in my close
explaining it.
quarters. I'm not gonna go up to someone and be like, "Simpsons, blah 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 blah,"
Right.
Simpsons, because I understand. You got to read the room.
Yeah, I don't go up to a guy wearing a Simpsons shirt when I see him at Walmart, and I'm like, "Oh, stupid Flanders, dull, dull,
Yeah, but yeah, so that guy was a nightmare.
cowabunga, dude."
And then we laughed.
Don't have a cow, man. Burps like Barney, but like just like it. And you're like, okay, that last one was kind of impressive. How do you do that?
Yeah, then we left, and then
He followed you out the door. He was
yeah,
like,
he
"Pickle
came back to the
Rick!"
cabin. He was yelling in the water. Pickle Rick. I had to put him down.
Literally like old
People
Yeller.
cheered.
You can do that out in the Smoky Mountains. You can put a man down
do
and
a
people
lot.
applaud you.
Yeah, so then the next place was in South Carolina. It was like 6 hours from there. A cabin that was awful compared to the first one.
Well,
The first
yeah.
one was so nice. This one was like
Everything shit in comparison.
this one had a hot tub and a big green egg grill. That was their two selling points, and it was very secluded. And it was like the longer we stayed, but it was one of those funny things where when we first got there, we were both like, "Yeah, this is kind of a piece of shit, right?" Because we just came from like this luxury,
like a
fucking
mansion, yeah.
5-bedroom fucking house on a river, and then we got
I
this
can't.
one
Yeah,
that
I can't wait
smells.
to hear you bitch about the cabin when we go next year and be
Yeah,
like,
it's
"Eh."
nothing to me. I might not even show up.
Just me, Matt, and Cole are all out there. Something's missing. We have the best year ever.
Love
though.
to see
like,
how you
it's
guys
so
get
good.
there.
Well,
But,
I took that flyer from the real estate thing. I have the address.
So yeah, we like I got adjusted to that one. I got very drunk. Oh yeah, the first thing is I had bought brats, and I bought regular brats, and I bought spicy brats. The regular brats were made at the first Superior Nice cabin. The spicy brats were cooked on the big green egg, which is confusing and supposed to be the best grill ever, but I didn't have a great time with it.
What is a green egg grill exactly? Because I've like heard what makes it a better grill. Because I've heard of it, but what makes it so different? Because it just seems like it's green and it's a grill.
Yeah, it's like built different, and you can like really like dial in the temperature apparently, and you can use it for like every form of cooking, like smoking just in it. You can like do other.
You could like make a cake in it if you wanted to.
You can do like a lot of shit apparently. You got to use like natural lump coal and like all this stuff,
okay,
which they had there. And so I'm trying to use it. I had been drinking and it was confusing because I've seen them, but I've never used one. And there wasn't that much charcoal left over, and you can't use regular charcoal. So I cooked these brats for a long time.
That I did the stupid thing where I thought I had fixed that grill that was given to me that had the broken leg on it, and it's like fixed enough that I can use it, you know.
As a man,
I put so much goddamn heat resistant epoxy resin on that thing that it should have stuck, and it didn't. So I don't know what else to do. And I've been doing this thing where I'm trying to be good about the grill, and I clean the grates, and so I take both grates out and I wipe it down and stuff and make sure it's clear.
As soon as you're done cooking.
It's so hot. I'm like, fuck this. This is responsibility sucks. And so like I'll go out there and like dump it out, and then I like wash the grates and don't think about it and don't put the lower grate in, and then I just have dumped charcoal in the bottom. And so I went to go try it for the first time, and I did that. I just dumped charcoal in the bottom, so there was like no aeration, and so it smoked, and then it got really hot, and I was like, okay. And so I put the food on, and like it wasn't like, I feel like it was similar to what you had to do, because like I've had some burgers on there, and I was like, these would be 3-5 minutes aside. You know, they weren't like big thick monsters, they were like that. But like they were on there for like 30 minutes, I felt like, because I like flipped it, and it was just like kind of pressed into the grill a little bit, and just vomiting over there.
Yeah, mine was it cooked for like 2 hours.
Were they good?
I couldn't see. It was like weirdly dark on like the back deck. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm drinking a lot, touching the hot tub, but I can't put my thighs in yet.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
So I'm doing that weird sit up, like the guy who's too cool to get in, or like the kid that doesn't want to show his belly, which I always am at.
We always are, yeah.
And then I'm like, these are finally done. They're fully cooked. The spicy brats are spicy.
How spicy?
Fuck. Like very spicy. Like you bite into them and like hot sauce is just pouring out.
Oh.
Very spicy.
Was there like peppers in them or anything, or was it just like
hot sauces? Scene. I don't know.
Because here's what I figured out with hot stuff like that: it's either hot because they put peppers in it, or it's like spicy V8 where they just put like pure capsaicin extract in it. Because when you look on the ingredients for spicy V8, there's nothing outside of the regular one, and you're like, why?
What happened?
I even looked online, and like it's a big thing. People are like, what makes it spicy? What's the spicy ingredient? And people are like, I think it's just like the capsaicin liquid that they pour into it. So I feel like it's shit like that, but then they do it gets saturated into the meat when it sits too long, and then it's just too much.
And they cooked forever. Like they were good. They were like a hint spicier than I was anticipating, so I like didn't love them. I had 2, whatever, it was good, and then continued to just drink aggressively throughout the night. I wake up at 3:30 a.m. with the worst stomach pain I felt in years. Like I thought I was being stabbed, because I'm also always scared staying places. Especially this one is like really in the middle of nowhere. And we went to find food instead of making the brats. We call a menu that's in the book. Those people act like they are not even a restaurant. They're like, what are you referencing? Because we're like, we'll take 2 chicken parms, which we tried to get the first night and couldn't get. So the chicken parm was like an ongoing thing. And they're like, we don't even have chicken parm.
We don't even have chicken.
And they were like, we got a like smaller menu. Come see us. Couldn't even find the place. Drive moments away and are in an area that we shouldn't be in. Like all of the telltale signs of like, there's just a loose pit bull puppy. There's just people everywhere just drinking and smoking, and it was like one of the like a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Walmart, and you're like, oh. And then we went this other way through their downtown, and it was like, oh. And then this is like in the back hills. It's just church, and then a quiet little creepy road, and then through this whole thing to your cabin. So I assume I'll be stabbed in my sleep
by either a religious fanatic or somebody who doesn't like tourists, or
where they're like, oh, you're from the city, and they're like wiping their oily hands. You know what I mean? Like I stop somewhere and I'm a little too aggressive, like every horror movie I say something wrong and they're like, where are you staying? What are you looking for? Guy
slicing a piece of fruit with a dirty knife and eating it with his dirty hands.
They tell you not to go to that place and you do.
Oh, that cabin, huh?
Yeah. And then that's the guy that shows up to save you, and then he dies in front of you.
Yeah.
So I wake up with a
He's
terrible
like,
stomach
nice
pain.
place. Heard they got a green egg grill up there.
Yeah, you're like, too
Heard
much
it's a
information.
superior grilling technology. You can really dial in the
Yeah,
heat
but
with that
he's
thing.
cooking on open
what
hood
appears
of a car.
what appears to be a cart he stole from Aldi's and flipped over and just
It
has
wasn't Aldi, which is another telltale sign.
yeah. It was a Save-A-Lot cart.
Yeah, and then I
But
wake
he
up.
did have the boat taters from Bojangles, so he seemed all right.
I shit for an hour, just a hot, terrible
At 3
shit.
a.m. How did that? I get those sometimes. How did that 3 a.m. shit feel?
Terrible. Then you're fully awake at the end.
Yeah.
Also, the internet
yeah.
was really bad, so I had to resort to an old ball game I have on my phone.
No.
Then I was doing really good, but then it's those bad shits where you're like, it just feels like it's never done. You're like, should I pack it up? But I don't want to come back down.
Because the worst thing in the world is when you think that shit's done, you go lay down in bed and then you feel another it's like I wanted to say a gurgle, but like it's almost like I can feel the shit shooting through my body. And it's like, hey, sorry we're late. Oh, ooh, man.
I had to flush halfway through, which is rare for me, and I didn't know if the toilet could handle it. Because this is like, there's not plumbing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, it's like.
And I'm like, this would be terrible to like ruin the vacation because I can't get rid of this grotesque
You got to start
shit
shitting in the green egg grill.
And then, so that was fun. And then the next day we go to Myrtle Beach. It's like an hour away.
Myrtle Beach.
And we were both like, we should spend less time at this cabin because it's kind of shitty. And it's fun to come home a little drunk too.
Yeah.
And so Myrtle Beach, I'd never been there. I didn't know what to expect. It's fucking crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like Wisconsin Dells for hillbillies. So many motorcycles. And the motorcycles will be older white men.
You are in
packs.
South Carolina.
I know. Older white men in packs on their motorcycles blaring music like Meek Mill. It kept being like, I'm trying to point it out to my girl. She does not even process it. But I'm like, that guy's playing Future. And he's like, big fucking... Like Hell's Angel, beard, bitch on the back, t-shirt,
shotgun. He had the shirt. He had our shirt.
Someone had to have had it. Like there were so many motorcycles.
You can read this. The bitch.
Yeah, it was hard to read because she hadn't fallen off yet.
But you could see if you can, and you were like, I know what the rest says.
And like, the motorcycles are blaring crazy shit. One guy, I think it was the second day we're there, drives by absolutely blasting "Fuck Donald Trump" by YG.
Sick.
So loud. And I seen a man that was a real life cowboy look so devastated as soon as he was able to make out the words. And I was just like, yeah, let's fucking go. Not too loud because I know nobody's with me here. All of the t-shirt shops and flag shops. And I didn't know it could be this intense. And now I understand how this world
makes
works.
you realize how important voting is.
But it doesn't matter because you can't outvote that. They have just pot, you know what I mean? Illinois, we can usually, I don't want to get into it, but you can't do anything down there. It's
down there,
crazy.
There's no swing in those states. Those people are
They
decided.
have all the t-shirt shops with just shit on them, and so many of them are like Pop Smoke. They had a George Floyd shirt, and I was just like, what the fuck
Who's
is
wearing
wrong with
this?
You? Also, like, to sell, it's
A
like
Pop
all the
Smoke
dead
shirt,
people,
I understand.
But it's still shit. Yeah, it's like Pop Smoke, Juice WRLD, X.
So it's specifically
whoever
like a
else.
dead rapper collection.
Yeah, and it's like in the front. Like you walk by the window shopping is the dead rappers and then George Floyd, and you're like, this is
Why is
so
that what you want to be
distasteful.
known by?
And who's like, I like being out in the town in Myrtle Beach. Let me pop on my dead rapper.
Let me pop
or
on my
George Floyd
dead
shirt.
XXX Tentacion shirt.
Yeah, so we were just like popping around.
And then in the middle of all those shirts is a big long t-shirt that makes you look like a lady with boobies or a big buff man.
And there's so many. You walk by, because it's one of those places where there's just like repeat stores.
Yeah.
And so many of them are airbrush stores, t-shirt stores, and the people are like trying to get you in. And I'm like, who's walking on the street and here's a guy like, hey, you need an airbrush t-shirt? And I'm like, you know what? I think I might. And then I go in there and just randomly pick a Buzz Lightyear t-shirt with my name on it.
Buzz Lightyear peeing on Calvin?
So yeah, it's like a crazy place like that. I was after some fun drinks, of course.
Per usual.
I went to this place. It was very difficult to figure out where to go in it. Ended up on the rooftop. Like everything we did was wrong. They were like, you got to go here. You got to go here. You got to go here. Then we sat down there like, oh, you're technically one table into the smoking section, so we can't serve you here. But you can go to the bar and get drinks, and then you can smoke over here. And I'm like, well, then I'll just do that. So go up to the bar. It takes for fucking ever. They are weirdly playing only like 80s hair metal songs, which made me sad that I wasn't going to sit inside.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to sit inside, obviously. I get a 64-ounce mason jar drink. 64 ounce. It's called All of It. That's the name of the drink.
Which I assume
rum, tequila, vodka, gin, anything else like clear, I think. Yeah. If I missed anything. And then
Everclear.
And then
liquor.
Red Bull and maybe like one of like pineapple or something. It's just yellow. They give you the Red Bull can, so they didn't even put the whole Red Bull in there.
Yeah.
I get it. Take it to the smoking section. It's good, but it's not great. But it does something to me.
It does the job,
like,
yeah.
I have a picture of, like, it was this big.
Yeah, if that doesn't
like,
do something to you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I sit in a chair that was wet, and I didn't know it, so then my whole ass was wet. Go to, like, this other tiki bar, which tiki bar implies that they would have fun drinks. Mm-hmm. Didn't have a single fun drink. I got a
beers.
vodka lemonade that sucked.
Aw.
Then we went to this, like, I don't know. It was some place where like the bikers go and they were playing like Guns N' Roses and shit. And then I had an amazing drink there, but it was one of the tiny little dinky ones. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of fun characters, like people watching now because I haven't been out. It's like top notch, especially there. There's just a big Pikachu.
Well, yeah, it's a whole different culture.
Like, all these motorcycle people talking shit and like being a little scary, but not as threatening as normal because they're on vacation. So it's fun. Yeah. A bouncer that was hilarious. All the things I miss, and I'm drunk, so I'm like, I want to do more of this. A band is setting up, and I'm like, if they go on, I'm going in there. I'm watching the band. I haven't seen music. That's an hour-long ride back where then you start to be like, fuck, I wish I was still drinking.
Yeah.
Then we go back the next day to actually go to the beach because that was, the first day we went to this like mall thing that I thought was smaller because they have a Simpsons store. You can go in the Quickie Mart. And again, I like Simpsons. I wasn't a crazy person about it.
Right.
But you can go in the Quickie Mart. They have all the stuff, like the one I went in Florida. You can get, Buzz Cola. You can get a squishy. You can get all the merch.
Can you get a hot dog off the roller?
I don't think so. But they also have some sort of like movie theater thing you can watch. And then we went to Ripley's Aquarium, and I got to pet a stingray.
How was that?
It was great.
Yeah.
That was because like there are certain things where you're like, being a pandemic, some things are cooler to go to because like there was no one there.
Right.
And, like wearing the mask. And like the penguins, you could go like right up to them. Like I really bonded with this one penguin. His name was Milton. I hope he's doing great. And then they have like the thing where it swims over. Like I've never really given a shit about an aquarium, but like I was like, this is so tight. And then you go up to this part and it's like you can touch them. You got to like kind of lay down, and then they'll swim up to you, and they feel so crazy.
Yeah, they're like soft but
mushrooms.
slimy. Yeah, but they're like living mushrooms.
And then there was a little hammerhead shark that would come by, and you had to use 2 fingers because people kept grabbing it and hitting it because people are the worst. And this beautiful kid like explained all of this shit to us. And then there was another weird thing I touched that was just this big fucker that I had to put my whole arm in because he was like, get down there and get it. And then I felt like I had to, and it wet my whole t-shirt. And I was like, God damn it. So then the second day we actually go to the beach. The beach I've learned is a thing. The ocean, I've only been to one other ocean, one other real beach. Sounds so much better than actually doing it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things you get there and it's so like shitty kind of.
Right. It's just water, salty, dirty water.
And like that's cool, but like one of my least favorite things is like you got to leave your stuff. It's just me and her. So then you're in the ocean. You can't stop watching your stuff. We got like 2 phones in there, my fucking ID. You know what I mean?
Like everything
where am I gonna
important.
Put my stuff?
Yeah.
And then I just have to let it, which luckily there's no one on the beach, obviously. So you can see it. But yeah, any person who's starting to walk towards, I'm just standing in the ocean. Like, just better stay away from my shit. I got 7 natter days up there too. And then like, I love the ocean and the waves. I'm unfamiliar with it. It's always exciting to me. It's very scary because you just keep looking and it seems like the world
just keeps going,
And so I'm like,
water's so deep.
Yeah, it's cold. I'm getting out there, get more and more out there, and I'm like, where I can stand, the water's like up to here, and then when the waves come, you get to do that fun jump, and it takes you, and it's the best, and it makes me feel like a child again. And I'm having a great time. And I'm getting a little bit more out there, getting a little crazier, kind of like, I want the waves to get bigger, you know what I mean? As long as they don't crest, you can ride it. And then, I didn't realize it at the time, but a boat goes by, real far away. And I was just thinking like, oh, it's crazy. Can you just drive your boat? And I'm thinking about it. And then minutes later, we're standing there, and we get this big-ass wave, best wave, jump up, right? And I'm like, whee! That was like, I literally was just a grown man in the ocean going, whee!
Whatever, man. Live.
And then, then I like turned around, and it's like a movie where I was like, fuck, because it was like way over me and had already crested, and then luckily I plugged my nose because my nose is so fucked. And it just it molested me. It took me and slammed me onto the ground, and I was tumbling on like the floor of like over myself, and my arms are all wrapped up, and it feels like it won't stop. And I'm like, oh my God. I had my sunglasses on. I stand up. I don't know where I am. My sunglasses are so gone. And I'm like, holy shit. And like facing like the completely wrong way. And my girl's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, are you? And she goes, oh shit. And that's another one. And then it just slams me in the back. I can't plug my nose. I go straight down. The water goes straight up my nose.
Oh no.
So hard out of my mouth underwater. It's like I'm going to float to the sand. And then I get up and again, I'm like all turned around. I don't even know. Our stuff's like way over there. And I just start walking towards the beach. She goes, are you done? I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like I was just, and it was so
raped
funny.
by the ocean.
Because right before that, I was fucking with her and we kept being like tubular, radical, cowabunga, like all this shit.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got hit, I was like, I don't want to be tubular anymore. I'm not having any fun.
I got dragged by the ocean.
And so yeah, then I go
small.
Then I go and sit on the towel. Then you're cold and wet.
Yeah.
And we only had 2 towels to sit on, not ones to dry off. So you're just waiting to dry off. And then that shit where you're like, sit on the beach, it's nice. How the fuck do you sit on a towel? The most comfortable option, cross-legged. Then your belly's all out. So you do the arms back on your wrists, and your wrists hurt immediately. Then you do like an elbow, like I'm posing
Elbows
for a
start getting all
calendar.
gritty in the sand.
Then laying on your back sucks. Laying on your stomach is weird. And then you're like, what did I do here? So I was ready to go, and I was like, not having fun with this ocean. Then I put a shirt on, and it's like little pieces of sand are all over me. So then my shirt's rubbing on it, and it feels like I'm getting stabbed everywhere.
Yeah.
And I've lost my sunglasses, which I lost my other pair when I was tubing because I put my head back like that, and they just fell in the water and were gone. The ocean took those ones far.
The ocean claimed them.
Because I stood up and tried to look for them, and she was like, she had them too, and she's like, they're gone. Like, there's no way. And I'm like, but the water's going this way.
You see a fish wearing them.
Yeah, and there's so many people doing like the stupid shit where they like scoop up some sand and like a colander, I was taught, and like someone find my fucking glasses. So I go in. The Gay Dolphin is the name of a store there that just sells
Glad you clarified that.
3 floors of every type of gift you can imagine. And I wanted sunglasses that said Gay Dolphin on the side because that's so great.
Yeah.
That's such a talking point.
And did they have them?
They had sunglasses that all sucked, and I don't want to just put sunglasses on and try them on. I was hoping to see like a pair that like matched the kind I wear. They did have a t-shirt that said I got lost in the Gay Dolphin that I wanted to buy, but it was so cheaply made, and I'm like, this is your shirt. Shouldn't these be nicer?
Shouldn't these be like...
They were like, and they were white, which obviously I don't love white shirts. But they're like the ones where you're like, they're so short. They're short and wide. What kind of blank tee is this? Like, where did this come from?
Where did this come from? Did you get this in a Gildan pack at Walmart?
Yeah, even those are nicer. But then, yeah, we went on like this pier thing. You can drink way out on the pier. We watched people be stupid in the ocean. A man did play music there, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. And then it was immediately like every song you hate, and you're like,
yeah.
I guess I'm wearing rose-tinted glasses with this music shit, because a lot of it does suck like this. Then we go back to the place where I got the 64-ounce mason jar drink the day before, and I'm like looking through the book because there's so many, like, this is the place for your fun drinks. And there was one, I forget what it's called, like Sandy Sunrise or something, and it says it's like strawberry puree, which I knew was great, pineapple, Svedka, orange mango, something else. I get it. It's a little cup. I taste it. It might be the single greatest alcoholic drink I've ever had in my entire life.
Big cap.
And I'm like, I swear to God, as far as like that type of shit, like it just was delicious. You could tell it was like still strong, but it was so good.
It was like just the way it was made.
Yeah, because it's like kind of like thicker because of the puree. It was so great. We go and sit out, and I'm like, I wonder if it seems like you can put any drink into that big thing. And I'm like, I want this drink in this big thing. And like my girl wanted to get food. I was in the zone to just drink like I do. And so the waitress comes over, and I was like, can I get the Sandy Sunrise in the big thing? And she was like, the 64-ounce mason jar, which you don't like to have that reiterated.
You don't like to say
I think
it.
We both know. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, you know that's a drink for like 6 people, right? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, okay. And I thought it was going to be like a thing. Like, are you guys splitting it? And I was going to say, yeah. And then I was going to drink it. So they bring this huge pink monstrosity, and it's so delicious. And that's when the teenagers at another table were laughing at me because I'm like just sipping this fucking
giant
bucket of
liquor.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was crazy strong, but I definitely was more drunk that night. Because then we walked
What got you drunker? The big giant thing of that or all of it?
I think that one, because I also had a little one. And I don't know. Yeah, they were probably about the same. I don't know what it was, but I felt more drunk. We went to leave and walk through this area, and there were zombies out for like some...
like literal zombies.
Yeah, I got a picture with the zombie. He choked me. I didn't ask him to, but he did.
Felt bad.
There was an electric chair that I sat in. It was wild. Like, you just, when you walk by something, you're like, everything's crazy over here.
Died slightly.
yeah, and then we went back. Trying to think of what else there was. There's like a lot of shit happened. I feel like there was another person that I wanted to specifically tell you about, but who the hell knows? And then I think we had one more day there, and then we just like grilled and drank and lit off a ton of fireworks.
Yeah, I
which was
saw
the
that
best
picture
choice.
of you.
I've got some that make me think like I don't know how I didn't get hurt. Those were just sparklers also. I shot off a Roman candle with my hand.
How'd that feel?
Powerful.
Yeah, you always feel like a man feeling that boom, boom, boom.
Because, like, you're driving by so many fireworks stores, and I was like, I want to get fireworks. And I thought my girl would be like, you're going to light the cabin on fire. And then she was with it. And then when we went to the fireworks store, she kept buying things. She was like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I was like, it was only like $50 of fireworks.
Right,
and it
yeah.
was like a crazy amount of fireworks. We had some fucking things that were just insane. And so, yeah, we did that, whatever. And then... So that's the last night. Stayed up until 2 a.m. drinking in the hot tub aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
Get up and leave at 8:30 a.m. Depart from basically Myrtle Beach and drive 1,000 miles home in one day. I drove all the way back.
How long did it take?
I got home at midnight and there had been a time zone change that went back.
But like, how many hours was the drive from
8:30 to 1 a.m. technically. I think it's like 16 hours.
Wow, good for
Yeah.
you.
It was not good. It was so
I mean,
bad.
of course, I'm saying good for you because you did that. I'm not saying it was good. It had to be awful.
Because especially...
As somebody who's done 16 hours, I did, God, what did I do? I did Rockford to Hope, Arkansas, and that was like 16 hours worth of
that doesn't
driving.
even sound fun.
Yeah,
The
that
worst
was
is,
bullshit.
like...
That's where old Billy Clinton's from.
When you're coming home, you know what I mean?
Because
like nothing...
there's nothing to look forward to.
And like, because we were like, we can either do like a lot of it and stay somewhere and then get home, or we can just get home, which is what you want. I think you always want the thing you're not doing. Because
Right.
like, there were moments in that drive where, and you know me, I will never tell, but I'm like, we're going to die. Because
Yeah.
I'm either going to fall asleep randomly or I'm just freaking out. Because it gets to that point where all you've done is drive.
It's 16 straight hours of just having your foot on the gas and the brake and the gas and the brake and just
And,
listening to things and not moving. Like, it becomes
you can't
a
even
lot.
listen to enough shit anymore.
Right, because
just listening to comedy specials.
Yeah, because I can't even, after a certain point, you can't even listen to music because you've listened to so much music that you've listened to everything.
Yeah, and we've been listening to music every point.
Everywhere
like,
you go,
when
so
we're
all the songs
at
are old.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like listen to podcasts and then like didn't even have podcasts to listen to.
So you're listening to stand-up comedians.
Yeah, which was funny and like help. I need something also because like music I can just like kind of zone out.
Right. I need something I can almost focus
on. And so much of it was that shit with the mountains. Like I went through, and it keeps feeling like we're moments away from like being out of this shit that's making me like hyperventilate, and then it's not. Like for some reason the whole way back there kept being crazy shit. Like even into Indiana there's still like huge things. Then it gets dark, and then I think from driving during the day and such crazy things, once it's dark it still feels like you're up high and weird.
Right. Yeah, because your body's so used to it.
And then getting into Illinois, crossing the border, you're supposed to get on 88 like perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to Chicago, go 88 that way, can go home. And it said that the road was closed, so it took me like significantly further. And then it took me, I don't even know where. Then you're just like off the highway, but you're driving in like all these different towns. And like, it's places like we think we've been before, but nothing looked right. And I'm starting to get like crazy where like nothing seems right anyway. And then guess what? Towards the end, a surprise bridge that's so high, and then it's dark and you can only see lights down there, which makes it scarier.
Much scarier.
And I was like losing my mind and like not sure that I was going to make it. There's also like at one point the fucking traffic had stopped like on the highway, and it was an exit, and I was like, should we sit in this? And we did for like a minute or two, and then I just cut someone off and got off on the exit. We had to get gas, and this gas station is full, so I got to go to the one across the street. I'm like starting to get like then I go in to take a piss. I open up the door, and it's just this like teenage kid with this dick in his hand right there at the door, because the door, you open the door and the toilet is right here.
Yeah.
So any guy is like right there pissing. It's like, lock the fucking door, dude. And it seemed like it was like maybe that's what he was looking for, which makes me so angry.
Angry, yeah.
And I'm gonna say that the kid was over 18 just for myself, because then I just left, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna piss anymore. I get in the car and I'm sitting there and I watch him come out, and he doesn't look like how I would look if someone walked in on me with my dick in my hand.
Yeah.
He looks like jaunty, and I'm like, I want to beat the shit out of you. If you made me look at your dick, that's fucked up. I've been driving for like 10 hours.
A lot. Motherfucker.
But the fucking... And then the next gas station where I do get to piss, there was shit sprayed all across the wall.
Of course.
Like, unbelievable. Like, I want to high five.
How do
Not
people's
high five.
bodies
I want
work?
to congrat the person who... And it smelled so bad like shit. And I like to think I've smelled shit in the past decade of my life, but nothing has come close to that. And I don't know if shit smells different when someone sprays it across the wall. Like, it looked like... I'm not fucking around.
Like someone just took
and it's
a
implied
hose.
that it started here and then went up. So I'm like, what did you even do? Because it shouldn't have started up here if it started up here. Because the spray, like, I don't want to be like a forensic analysis
But
here,
you almost have to
but
be.
like, it starts
See
small
something
here
so
and sprays
unbelievable.
out, so it would imply that your asshole was here, and then you somehow shifted it up towards the wall, and the toilet's here. So yeah, I got like a crew in there, and I'm like, what happened in here? And then I wanted to eat something from that gas station. But
Not
you don't
after
eat
that.
from the shit sprayed gas station wall. And yeah, there was a lot of fucking insane shit driving. I would not recommend driving 16 hours straight, 1,000 miles.
No, nobody does.
Horrifying. And then yeah, when I got home, nothing felt real either. Even
Yeah.
the next day when you wake up, you're like, is this how my stuff
This
looks?
is my house?
This is right. It looks empty. Like, things are bare. Has our wall always been this bare? But these are things I don't say because she's gonna be like, are you okay? Like, I think we're different now. I think we got lost. It felt like, and I think I just get in my head, like when the fucking highway was fucked up coming into Illinois, it felt like we drove into like a different life. And like, cause I was like, these are places we've been, we go to, we shop, and they don't look the same. I'm not
Right.
acknowledging anything. Even up until like we got on the highway, like close to my house, and then even turning on roads by your house, and I'm like, it's definitely because I've been driving too long, but I think we've changed our life. Like, this is a different universe.
We've
now.
become different people.
Things are going to be slightly different. Everything's going to feel a little off and weird. And yeah, that was it. It was quite a trek.
Sounds like Jesus. Well, at least you had a good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of crazy shit. I don't ever want to drive through those mountains again.
No.
The beach is overrated.